Hi, my name is Jamie, and today I will be doing a review on the King James Version of the Bible. Please subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Now, the King James Version is one of my favorites. I love the way it sounds, the way it flows. It is very poetic, romantic, maybe even song-like, in my opinion. I find it very beautiful, and I enjoy the technicalities of it and how it's a more difficult version to read, especially if you're not particularly used to it. But I would count those things as pros in favor of this version, it being beautiful, it being more technical. Another pro is that the King James Version doesn't deal with a lot of modern political correctness in the language. I know some people would argue with me that it was politically correct for their time, and I don't know. I don't know enough about the history of the King James Version to know if that's true or not. I just know that it doesn't mess around with the gender neutral fad, I guess, that some translations are getting into. It still writes men instead of people, or man instead of person. It has that more masculine bent to it, which I actually appreciate in the Bible, because if you know anything about biblical literature and the history of the Jews, it was a very masculine society, and to take the gender wars that are going on today and try to put that on the Bible is not right. We shouldn't be changing the literature to fit what's going on in our society. The Bible is the Bible, and it should be translated the way it was written, not what makes us feel comfortable, or not what makes a group of people feel more comfortable. It doesn't help people to write what they want to hear or see. It doesn't help them to translate it in a way that's more palatable to them. We should translate the Bible by what it said, not by what we want it to say. So I appreciate that the King James Version translates what is said. A lot of people will argue that it's a better translation still after all these years than the NIV or the ESV. I don't know. I haven't done in-depth studies on translations. I know my opinion on this book and, well, on the translation. And that's all I have to really go off of. And the little bit I do know about how the translations have differed from the past and the present. So that's a pro in my opinion. Some cons would be the difficulty level of the King James Version. It's not a con for me, because I like to read more difficult literature and I find it challenging and beautiful, but I know I've heard of a lot of people that shy away from the King James Version because it is more difficult and it is hard to understand the these and the thous, and a lot of the words will end with ETH. And while I find that beautiful and interesting, a lot of people are like, what does thee and thou stand for? Why is there ETH on these words? And it does take some getting used to. It does take some perseverance to get to know the translation. I think once you do, if you take the time to push through that and pursue it, that it is beneficial. It is a beautiful translation, but I know it is more difficult, and some people just aren't really into that. So you might want to take that into consideration if you're going to try to read it, or if you're going to recommend it to someone else. I highly recommend it. I would encourage you to do it anyway, but again, that is your decision. It depends on what you like to read and what you're comfortable reading. I think I said this in my previous review of the ESV translation, just get yourself a Bible, whatever translation you choose. There are some that I do believe are better than others, and I'll try to talk about that a little bit in each review of a translation that I do. I believe the King James Version is a good translation to choose. I also think the NIV 1984 is a good one. The NASB, the ESV, those are solid translations that do a good job communicating not just the principle of the text, but they really try to get at the actual words that were used in the Greek and the Hebrew, and not a paraphrase. They're not trying to push an agenda, which I appreciate. I don't think you should be pushing an agenda if you're translating the Bible. The Bible has a specific agenda that it is preaching, and we need to honor that when we give this material to other people. So those are some things to consider when you're thinking about what Bible translation to pick up and read. That's all I have for you today concerning the King James Version. I hope you try it out. I think it's beautiful and well worth the effort. And I hope you are having a wonderful Sunday. It being Palm Sunday, I think it's appropriate that we are doing a review on the Bible on Palm Sunday. Next week being Easter. Praise the Lord, He is risen. I hope you enjoy your Easter service. I hope you go to church and celebrate. And I will talk to you in our next video. Have a good one, and I hope you're reading some fantastic books. Bye.